What was Aaliyah's mood in her final hours? Witnesses say she was radiant. On that August day in 2001, she had just wrapped the filming of Rock the Boat, a song that carried both sensuality and serenity. Crew members remembered her smiling, laughing, even dancing between takes. She was only 22, with the world at her feet, and yet fate was quietly circling closer. Why did she insist on leaving the island so quickly? Aaliyah had plans back in Miami, and delays weren't something she enjoyed. The crew originally expected to leave later, but she was determined to go earlier. This meant chartering a small private plane from Marsh Harbor in the Bahamas, a plane that, as it would later turn out, wasn't suited for the journey it was about to take. What kind of plane was it, and why did it matter? It was a Cessna 402B, a twin-engine aircraft designed for short flights, but with very strict weight limits. On this day, the plane wasn't just carrying passengers, it was overloaded with heavy video equipment, more than 700 pounds over the safe limit, investigators later revealed. Even more concerning, the pilot, Luis Morales, wasn't fully licensed for the flight. He had a history of drug use, and toxicology reports after the crash showed traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system. Did Aaliyah know about the risks? That's one of the most haunting questions. Reports suggest that when she first saw the plane and was told about the potential issues, she hesitated. Witnesses claim she didn't want to board, but after pressure and reassurance from those around her, she reluctantly stepped inside. Some even say she was carried aboard after feeling unwell from waiting in the heat. Whether she sensed danger or not, her fate was sealed the moment that plane left the ground. What happened in the moments after takeoff? Barely 60 seconds into the flight, disaster struck. The overloaded plane struggled to gain altitude, the engines strained, and within 200 feet of takeoff, it pitched violently. Then it plunged nose first into a marshy area near the runway. The impact was immediate and devastating. Fire erupted, consuming the wreckage. Aaliyah and everyone on board, 8 others, died instantly. How did people react to the news? Shock, disbelief, and then overwhelming grief. Fans across the globe could not accept that the rising princess of R&B was gone. Her career was only beginning to bloom, already with hits like Try Again and her acclaimed acting role in Romeo Must Die. She was also set to appear in the Matrix sequels. To lose her at 22 wasn't just a tragedy, it was a theft of potential, a life interrupted mid-song.
Why was Aaliyah so important to music and culture? Because she wasn't just a singer, she was a pioneer. She blurred the lines between R&B, hip-hop, and pop, creating a sound that was smooth yet edgy. She brought elegance to her performances, combining youthful innocence with undeniable maturity. Artists like Beyoncé, Rihanna, and Drake would later call her a major influence. Her style, minimalist, futuristic, effortlessly cool, reshaped what it meant to be an R&B star. What about her personal life? Behind the fame, Aaliyah was known for her warmth and humility. Friends described her as grounded, playful, and deeply loyal. She valued family above everything, often traveling with her mother or brother. And romantically, there were whispers. Her brief marriage to R. Kelly when she was just 15 cast a shadow, but she moved beyond it with grace, keeping her private life away from headlines. How was her funeral remembered? On August 31, 2001, New York City streets filled with mourners. A white horse-drawn carriage carried her coffin, draped in flowers. Fans cried, celebrities wept openly, and doves were released into the sky. It was both heartbreaking and beautiful. A farewell fit for someone whose very name, in Arabic, means the highest, the most exalted one. Did Aaliyah leave any signs that she sensed her fate? Some fans believe so. The lyrics to Rock the Boat feel eerily symbolic, with references to letting go and drifting away. Others point to her final interviews, where she spoke about peace, love, and following your destiny. Whether coincidence or premonition, these words have since carried a haunting weight. What has been her legacy since her passing? For over 2 decades, her influence hasn't faded. Posthumous albums, unreleased tracks, and countless tributes have kept her voice alive. Fashion brands, artists, and entire generations still draw inspiration from her. In many ways, she never truly left. Her music continues to echo, reminding us of what could have been. If she had lived, what might have happened? It's impossible to say for sure, but many believe she would have dominated both music and film. With her acting career rising and her music evolving into more experimental territory, she could have been one of the biggest icons of the 2000s and beyond. Her story isn't just about what she accomplished. It's about the dreams we'll never get to witness. So, what do Aaliyah's last minutes teach us? That even the brightest stars can fall suddenly. That life is fragile, unpredictable, and unfair. And that sometimes the greatest tragedies leave behind the strongest legacies. Aaliyah's final flight may have ended in flames, but her spirit soars higher than ever. Forever, the queen of R&B.
What did Aaliyah's final day truly look like behind the scenes? It began with joy. The music video for Rock the Boat had been shot across breathtaking locations in the Bahamas' white sandy beaches, turquoise waters, the sun glowing like it was made to frame her beauty. Crew members remembered how happy she was. She laughed with the dancers, posed for playful photos, and even joked about how exhausting but rewarding the days of filming had been. She was proud. That video would become one of her most iconic visuals, yet it would also be her last. Why did the departure feel rushed? Aaliyah wasn't just a rising artist, she was a star with commitments waiting. Her team had schedules, appearances, and plans back in Miami. Waiting around didn't feel necessary when they could leave earlier. But sometimes in life, small decisions, ones that feel so trivial, become the most consequential. The choice to push for an earlier flight meant taking a plane that wasn't prepared for what it was asked to do. Did anyone try to stop the flight? Yes, airport workers reportedly warned about the plane being too heavy. Some even claimed they argued with the group, advising them to wait for another aircraft. But the pressure was real. The equipment was already loaded, the crew was tired, and Aaliyah herself was ready to leave. In moments like these, human instincts, trust, impatience, the desire to get home can override caution. Sadly, that instinct turned fatal. What were Aaliyah's last recorded moments before boarding? Witnesses say she appeared uneasy. She may have been reluctant to board, possibly sensing that something was wrong. There are conflicting accounts. Some say she was calm, others say she was hesitant, even distressed. One story insists she laid down in a van near the runway, upset about the flight, and was eventually escorted onto the plane. Whether or not she felt fear, we'll never know for sure, but imagining her, this young, talented woman, stepping onto that plane with quiet uncertainty is heartbreaking. What happened after the crash? The Bahamian authorities responded quickly, but by the time rescuers reached the wreckage, it was too late. The fire had already consumed much of the aircraft. Everyone on board had perished instantly from the impact. Aaliyah's body, along with those of her team members, was flown back to the United States within days. News of the crash spread like wildfire, breaking hearts in every corner of the globe. How did her family handle the tragedy? Her parents, Diane and Michael Houghton, were devastated. Losing their daughter, who was not just famous, but their pride and joy, was unimaginable. Her brother, Rashad, delivered a deeply emotional eulogy at her funeral, describing her as his best friend, someone who lit up every room she entered. Family, friends, and fans united in grief, struggling to process how someone so full of life could be gone in an instant. Did the industry change after her death? In many ways, yes. Conversations about aviation safety in celebrity travel became louder. The dangers of small, overloaded private planes became more widely recognized. But beyond logistics, Aaliyah's passing left a scar in the music world itself. Producers, collaborators, and artists who had lined up to work with her were left reeling, their projects cut short, their dreams with her buried. Timbaland and Missy Elliott, who had been her closest collaborators, often spoke of how deeply the loss crushed them. Why does her story still haunt us today? Because it's not just about fame. It's about fragility. Aaliyah was 22, still figuring out life, still chasing dreams, still learning who she was. Her story isn't only one of tragedy, it's a mirror reflecting how quickly life can shift. One day she was a global star, filming on a tropical beach. The next, she was gone forever. That duality, beauty and loss, joy and grief, makes her legacy unforgettable. How is she remembered now? Every August, fans flood social media with tributes. Documentaries are made. New generations discover her music, and her influence continues. Songs like One in a Million, Are You That Somebody, and Try Again don't just sound like the late 90s, they sound timeless. They remind us of her voice, smooth, feather-light, yet full of strength. They remind us of what she left behind and what could have been. Could her death have been prevented? Sadly, yes. If a safer plane had been chosen, if weight limits had been respected, if stricter checks had been enforced, Aaliyah might still be here today. It wasn't destiny, it was negligence. And that's perhaps the most painful part. Her death wasn't inevitable, it was avoidable. So, what makes Aaliyah's last minutes so horrifying? It's the knowledge that her brilliance was extinguished not by natural causes, but by human error. It's the thought that she might have felt fear before the crash. It's the reality that the world lost a young woman with unmatched promise, all because of a rushed decision and a preventable mistake. That horror lives on, not just in the wreckage, but in the silence her absence left behind. And yet, what do we hold on to? Her music, her grace, her smile. The way she made us feel through songs that blended vulnerability with power. The way she carried herself with elegance, never letting fame change her spirit. Aaliyah's plane may have crashed, but her voice still rises through every lyric, every beat, every fan who whispers, "We miss you."